Real Peace, brought to you by Kwabi&thePeaceCampaign, is a podcast. Is a podcast dedicated to discovering ways in which everyday people can seek understanding of community, seek understanding of themselves and others, and gain tolerance on opinions they might not agree with. How do we learn to live together? How do we learn to love each other? These questions and much, much more we'll attempt to answer only on Real Peace. I'm your host, Kwabi, and I'm a peace campaigner. Behind the camera is our producer, Kevin Wolford, and without his help, none of this would be possible. We got some amazing, unique guests today. For the first time, I have my cousin, Jeremy McLean, a.k.a. Big Man, a.k.a. Manny Fresh. What's going on, man?
Hey, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, man.
Nice. Jeremy is a youth basketball coach. He's also, he's been playing basketball his whole life.
Yeah.
Played for Foss High School and played for your college. What college was that?
I went to Green River Community College for a couple of years, and then I went to a school named Bacone College. It's a Division I NAIA in Muskogee, Oklahoma, a small town.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, I should have known that. I should know that. It's my family. We also have John Matthews, who's a student at the University of Washington, Tacoma. To be honest, he knows more about sports than anyone that I've ever met. So
I just watch a lot of SportsCenter.
Yeah, and how much to be exact?
Mike and Mike, 32 hours a week.
So there we go. Then that's why he's on the show today.
Just always on.
Today we're gonna be talking about sports and why does it seem as if sports is a outlet to bring people together. Nelson Mandela said in 1995 that sports is it's a vehicle that seems to unite people, and he was referring to the 1995 Rugby World Cup, in which the All Blacks were defeated by South Africa, and it seemed to mend ties between the people in South Africa due to the whole apartheid movement, and it seemed that just a simple game of rugby brought together a whole nation. So in that, and looking at the history of that, why do you guys think that sports seems to bring people together?
I feel like sports is just it's sort of a language or something that everyone can speak without saying anything. You know, it's kind of like a smile.
Okay.
Someone can speak Japanese and you can smile, and you guys can laugh about something. It's all the same language. You know, you don't really have to say anything to understand. To understand the smile. You know what I mean? So for sports, it's definitely something someone can do without speaking. But it also just brings on interaction, and it incorporates teamwork. Unity, cooperation, a lot of things that go into building a relationship, building a friendship. So these are just some of the things that consists of that.
Yeah. I had thought about certain scenarios that seem to bring people together, like, tragedies. It seems as if, there's a natural disaster, people come together.
Yeah.
Some sort of bad atrocity happens, people come together. Could it be that sports sort of like mimics that in a sense? Like, okay, there's opposing force. We have to overcome them. And so people have to unite in order for that greater good of, having to defeat that opponent or, trump that, whatever it is, what have you. I don't know if it's sort of mimicking that sort of.
Yeah, I mean, and plus it, along with the opposing forces going against each other, it's an easy way to talk about opposition and defeating like odds against you. And not saying sports aren't real life, but sports takes us out of real life.
It does.
Where we can talk about the relationship, like you said, and teamwork and all that without having it actually having any effect on our real world.
Wow.
Right. And also, to add to what he was saying and what you were saying, sports at the same time can be healing. When tragedies and bad things happen, like for example, like the Boston Marathon bombing, all that stuff happened in Boston. The people rallied in Boston at their sporting events, and when things like that happen, that's kind of a way to mend the soul and mend that pain that's going on. When
I got you.
You know what I mean?
So we've been honing in on the good side of sports. But then there's also rivalry,
right?
And people can get heated and sometimes violent. How, like, is that a healthy part of sports? Like when you feel, that passion behind your team, and then they start losing, you hear another guy, yelling. He's like, "Oh, this is my team's winning." You get mad, I guess that's a unhealthy side effect of sports. And I mean, is there even any way of alleviating that, or? I mean,
Yeah, well, I guess I hadn't thought of that about that before I came, but yeah, it is kind of different when violence comes in from sports. But I think most of us know that that's an exaggeration, or like you just don't have any self-control if you
That's
get
true.
violent
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a sport. But it still does happen. You're right. Rivalries
true.
happen, and people get divided based on. I mean, we were talking about LeBron and Jordan. That's not really a rivalry. It's just a
Right.
debate. But people get pretty heated even over
Gotcha.
that.
And so, you know, sportsmanship, you know, I guess that can be implemented in different facets of life. You know, if you have your team losing, I guess exemplifying sportsmanship with not letting that anger get the best of you.
Right.
Even on the field. You know, played rugby for about 8 or so years, and you have guys literally like, it's a pretty violent sport. You're hitting
Yeah.
people, there's blood, no guts, but lots of blood and anguish and things like that, and sometimes it gets heated. And to be able to have that restraint when it's the worst, when you get hit really hard and you're on the ground and you want to get up and do something and go ham, but you have that sportsman, like, you know, conduct. You're like, oh no, I don't want to, you know, go there. I don't know if do you teach that sort of thing when you're coaching?
Definitely. Like when I'm coaching, the one thing I want to make sure that all my players have is that competitive nature.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's where a little bit of the violence comes from. Initially, you know, it's just definitely their competitive drive and wanting to be the best or wanting to win. But there are times when it goes a little bit further, and at that times, like even with my players or if I'm playing on a team and with my teammates, you know, there's a certain point where you, like you were saying on the rugby field, you want to cut that off and nip that in the bud early on, and that's why I do it with the kids early on to let them know, like, it's good to be competitive, good to have that competitive drive and want to be the best, want to win, but there's a certain point where being competitive and like going overboard, you have to draw that line. And that's good in kind of maturing their character.
I see.
You know what I mean?
On and off the court.
On and off the court. That's what it's all about.
So, like, okay, say you're coaching a team, and the other team is doing some unsportsmanlike conduct. What would you tell your not students, your kids? What would you tell them? Like, hey, don't do that, or
So what? All in all, it would depend on what they're doing. I'm not gonna go out there and tell my kids to harm another kid.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, I'm gonna tell them to play their game. You know, do what we were taught. Because all in all, you're playing the game to win, and if you beat them on the scoreboard, that's gonna hurt a lot worse than you doing something physically. You know, that's gonna stick with you a lot more than just getting a little bruise or something like that. That's how I feel, and that's the message that I try to give out.
Looking at sports, we talked quite a bit about, you know, what it does to bring people together. How can we implement that same sort of feature in our daily lives, like camaraderie, courage, just simply the act of leadership? I'm sure you tell your kids, you know, like, all of these certain attributes of sports you can implement in other parts of your life. How can we get other people to do those things?
Yeah, I guess not to get all idealistic, but, you know, imagining either your city or, you know, your community just as part of your team. Ooh. And how there are leaders and captains in your community, and you should respect their authority and where they're leading you, but you're also all part of a team, and you all have something to say and
something to offer as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
What's your favorite sport, John?
Basketball.
But okay. All right. Would you say that your favorite player right now is a big proponent of sportsmanlike conduct?
Yes, I would. I mean, and it sucks. I don't think I would like him so much if he didn't have so much hate, but my favorite player is LeBron.
Okay.
But LeBron is so much on the other side of sportsmanship. Like, he doesn't have that killer instinct. Okay. That people are annoyed by it. So LeBron's almost too friendly to everybody.
Tactical and
yeah, he's almost too buttoned up, which nowadays with social media you have to be.
Right.
But people don't like him because it seems like on the court sometimes he doesn't want to he does not have that killer instinct like Michael Jordan did or Kobe Bryant, like
Gotcha.
that Mamba mentality that people talk about.
Yeah. I see.
So I mean, yeah, he is, and he's known for being a father figure, and he's got a great foundation and all that. But
I see. That's probably why a lot of people look up to him, or is it just because of his sheer, brilliance on the court? Or
Unfortunately, I feel like it's just mostly just because of the basketball, because the good things that people do outside of their sport, or when they're in the limelight, a light is not always shown on that.
Okay.
Because like he does a lot of great things, but that's not the most talked about thing.
so you being an athlete, did you feel when you were playing at Foss and in your college, did you feel that you had a standard to uplift, as far as being a leader and being that person?
In a sense, I did, but I mean, I feel like it was just more about being myself and being true to who I am.
Okay.
And I just felt like me doing that shows that I have certain leadership qualities, or I have certain good character qualities.
So you weren't thinking like, oh, because I play basketball, I gotta be a leader. You're like, I'm a leader, and I just so happen to play basketball.
Exactly.
And so for the kids that you're training and coaching, you obviously get to see which ones have more leadership qualities than others or whatnot.
True.
And I'm sure you try to do you try to bring the leadership qualities out in the ones that don't have that so much.
So some of them obviously have leadership qualities. Some of them want to be a leader, but they don't always know how to convey the message in the right way. Like they don't know how to talk to their teammates or talk to each other in the right way, and that's just a part of growing up.
That is,
you have to be taught things. You're not just born learning how to do, knowing how to do everything.
Yeah.
You have to be taught some things. So some of them are working on that, and the ones that don't have those leadership qualities, you want to put confidence in them. Let them know that they can be anything that they put their mind to as well. And it's just all about just giving them that good positive energy and seeing where they take it to a new level. Because after a certain point, it's up to them to take what you give them and try to grow with it.
Gotcha. That's beautiful. I want to talk about boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is very violent.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most violent sports you could ever think of, other than like MMA. That's in the limelight right now. Looking at that sport, do you think that perpetuates more violence, or do you think the restraint that boxers have shows like how we can participate in an act that's so violent and still have restraint? Do you think it's I don't for lack of better words, civilized, or do you think that there will come a time where boxing just fades out and people just see that as barbaric?
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to come a time where they see it as barbaric. I mean, even with football, with the NFL, I mean, they're still making plenty of money, but with all the concussion stuff coming out,
True.
I mean, people are already starting to see football as violent and unnecessary, and you could make the argument that just because you can make a lot of money doing it, we shouldn't, in our society, just accept these, I mean, they had gladiators fight. Granted, the gladiators didn't have any choice.
Yeah, true.
So there is freedom and choice, and but I definitely think our society's heading that way.
Yeah, and then like even the trauma that goes behind, hitting someone in the face constantly, and then the hits to the body. I mean, that affects you. Not even, not only physically but mentally.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about the concussions, but like that realization that you're going into that state of mind where you're gonna have to take hits and hit other people.
It's that fight or flight,
Exactly, and that's kicking in, and I know that affects the people that are involved in that sport.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. And like he was saying, in my opinion, I feel that there's going to be a large amount of society that's going to feel like it's barbaric. But at the same time, there is a large amount of society that likes violence and that are drawn to it. Gotcha. And drawn to like negativity and things like that. So they're gonna want to see it, whether it's not on the large national scale or whether it's just on a smaller scale. They're still gonna want to see it in some sort of fashion.
I guess my question is there a place where like you can see peace in violent sports, because like for example, Nelson Mandela was a boxer, and he said that he didn't like the violence of boxing, but he liked the finesse. He liked the mental fortitude it takes in order to practice that sport. So I mean, if you look at it that way, I guess you could see that a lot of qualities of peace can be seen in boxing. I guess like speaking for myself with rugby, like rugby's a pretty violent sport, but when I got into the field, I always carried myself in a certain way. Like I never got angry to think like I was gonna punch somebody or hurt
Right.
somebody. If anything, I was like kind of battling against myself. Like, can I make the pass? You know, can I run past this guy? Can I shake him? Can I juke him? Can I hit him over? You know, versus thinking like, oh, this guy, you know, he's
Right.
my enemy, and I'm out to hurt him. You know, and I don't know. I guess people in boxing think of like their enemy as their, you know, or their opponent as their enemy.
Some do. Some do. You know, like you were saying, some that's how they have to get ready, get
Gotcha.
themselves ready.
See,
like,
is that a good thing though? Like, what if boxers, you know, took boxing just for the sport that it is, came out, you know, for the what's it called, like the press, when they come out,
Press
you know,
conference,
they shake hands and it's very cordial, and then they have at it, you know, it's constructed, and they box and then it's over.
to be honest, I feel like if they were to do that, it wouldn't be as much
Hype.
of a spectacle as it is.
But then, okay,
You know?
for example, the Manny Pacquiao fight versus Floyd Mayweather, they showed Floyd to be like this money hungry like monster, and then you have interviews where he's talking about how he's participating in charities and he loves his family and stuff. Like,
Right.
that's so misleading to the public, you know. Like, and they had Manny Pacquiao as being, you know, like an upright guy too, and I'm sure he is too. But like, what people don't realize, a lot of that's an act, and I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, but Floyd Mayweather is a part of that. I mean, Floyd Money Mayweather, you know, I mean, he's leading into that persona, and we all have personas that we portray to the public. But
That's true.
yeah, I just wanted to like touch on, I think it's nice to see people be mad, like because in our society nowadays, we can't fight at all. We're not allowed to punch anyone. We're not allowed to actually get that mad at anyone, really,
Gotta be
and
PC.
not get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it's nice, like, to see boxers just like box, because sometimes there's people in your life that you want to box, but you just can't.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's nice to see people get mad at each other.
So in some regard, like boxing, the art of boxing can be an outlet, a constructive outlet.
Right,
You know,
right.
you're working out. You're the person you're boxing is a boxer as well. They're in the ring. They've signed consent. So you guys are both in a controlled environment where you're duking it out. It's a release from whatever sort of stresses you could be going on in your day or whatnot.
Yeah.
No, I mean you're right. And the best part about boxing is like wherever you have this place, you create an economy basically around it. Like when Muhammad Ali and George Foreman fought in
Yeah.
Rumble Down
in the
Under.
Jungle.
Yeah, Rumble in the
Congo.
Jungle. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can imagine how much money they brought
Yeah.
with them. Not saying money is the reason we should have sports, but
Gotcha.
it is a neutral reason for a community to make money.
Yeah, and we love sports. People love it, man.
They do because it just brings people together. It's something to watch. It's something to be entertained by. It's something to take up time in your day. Something to talk about. It's just so many things that go into it.
Gotcha.
That everybody can be a part of it.
I'm gonna ask one question and leave it on this note, and then you guys will respond, of course. Do you think athletes that are in the limelight are responsible to shedding light towards issues and things that are going on in the world? Do you think? Because I mean that's something that's been battled in the media, like, oh, this guy's a basketball player, he has no right to be saying this or that, or this guy is a soccer player, why is he talking about these issues? But from my understanding, I mean, leadership qualities entail those sort of things, bringing things that are in the dark to light.
Exactly. And I feel like no matter what your profession is, at the end of the day, you're still a citizen. You're still a person. So if me as a coach, or if someone as a school teacher, or if someone as a worker at McDonald's can have their opinion, why can't this person have their opinion? Just because they make money and they're on TV, why can't they bring things to light that if I were to speak on it, it wouldn't get the same attention.
Gotcha.
But if they speak on it, people are going to hear it. Something's going to be done about it.
Okay.
And they have that platform to be able to do so. I do feel that, they have a certain responsibility to do that. And people with those leadership qualities, they wouldn't think twice about it because that's just who they are.
Gotcha.
Just to speak on things that are not right. Speak on things that need to be fixed whether it benefits them or not.
Mm.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to LeBron, Jordan didn't speak up when he was playing. He didn't use his power. I mean, Spider-Man, great power, great responsibility, right?
Right.
And I mean, to LeBron's credit, I mean, he has.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I mean, he's probably the most popular athlete in the world right now. That's the only reason I bring him up. But
Gotcha.
I mean, there's that big controversy when it was him and Kevin Durant in that car, and that reporter said, you know, that he shouldn't be talking because he just plays basketball, just play your sport, and it's just I don't know. It's like you can't win either way. Like Jordan didn't win because he didn't speak up. LeBron doesn't win because he does speak up. But I think you do need to speak up.
Gotcha.
If you're in the limelight, you have to you're in the system. Like you have the opportunity to help a lot of people that don't have voices.
Exactly. You know, you might as well do what you can to help as many other people benefit off of, you know, speaking on something that you feel is not right, or speaking on something that could change something for the better. You know, it's all about bettering the world as a whole. We're all human beings. If you can speak on something that can better millions of lives without ever seeing that person, it's like that's a
No
great
brainer.
thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
Why not?
I feel that. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you guys shed a lot of good light. Subscribe, you guys watching at home. Real Peace, we'll be looking for your guys' comments. Please comment. We want to have more and more feedback to make the show as good as possible. We hope you enjoyed this last episode, and stay tuned for the next episode. I'm Kwabi, and we're signing off for Real Peace.